everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of the LFC Toronto show. It's the Three Musketeers here on a Friday night. We just found out Dan's heading to sunnier climates. But just want to know how you're doing, fellas. How's it going, Jake? What's new?
Life is good. Can't complain. Life is good. Life is very good. I'm not as good as this DR boy that's jumping ship, but this Naby Keita lover. But life is good. Can't complain. Daniel, how you feeling?
Dan,
thumbs up
doing,
from my end. Thumbs up from my end. Gonna catch a Spurs match from sunny Punta Cana, and we'll be cheering from there. Nice. Rocking my Naby Keita jersey. And, Hopefully makes an appearance. Oh, sorry, he's not in the squad. Yes, all that.
Send us some pics and we'll share them on.
He's getting sold in January. And just enjoy this 8. Getting sold in January.
All the slander, folks. The slander, guys. Whoever's watching, gals. Whoever's
I'm representing Liam. All I'm doing is representing Liam. He's getting sold in January.
Behind the scenes, underground, Liam actually is a big fan of Naby Keita. Like I think he actually wears a Naby shirt underneath. He in fact does like a Cruyff turn in his living room, I think, to replicate what Naby did in that first season. That did the iconic Cruyff turn that he had. Anyway, that being said, let's.
I thought you said Queef turn for a second. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, Queef, Cruyff.
All right, let's go. Sorry.
So let's go. So different fortunes in the two big competitions. So just want to get your thoughts on how we reconcile this, right? Like we've just had 2 back-to-back defeats against bottom of the table teams. One was literally rock bottom. We haven't had a show since Nottingham Forest beat us. And then Leeds rocked up to Anfield, attacked, which I actually respect, to be honest with you. Like they didn't shut down the shop like those folks on Sunday will probably play at home. And they beat us. And then we followed that up by beating the most informed team in Europe. Their first defeat, 21 games they've had without a defeat, and they rocked up to Anfield and left with no points. So I'm going to start with you, Jake. Where is this team? Like, what on earth is happening? Like, Premier League one team, Champions League another, bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. Like, how do we figure this out? What's going to happen?
I haven't seen this in quite some time. I'm not even going to talk about the injuries, but just like the players that are on the pitch, there's no connection and flow rhythm. They say that like people like Fab, he's lost his legs. There's not one pin, and even just how Virgil losing his first match, like there's a lot of different subcategories and stories that have happened on a negative connotation from like the last several months. And again, one of the hardest things is, when you get some superstar like James Milner, cutting his head and whatever else, but he's the guy starting and he's coming off the bench. It's tough to play against these high caliber, teams with that being your starting unit. And, we just have had no consistency. I don't know if they just need a break. I'm kind of pining for this World Cup, and I don't know how this is going to happen because that's a whole nother shit show, but do they need a little bit of rest? Will Diaz come back in a month? Like we need some kind of stimulus to like just jump. The pace, just the pressing. It's just been pretty sad for us, just the inconsistencies. And I can't believe that we have those high points against Man City, which gives us a little bit of hope that, oh shit, we're on the right direction again. Then we lose against they tried. Forest tried hard. Leeds tried hard. From Bielsa to Marsh, they play the same way. They hustle. They run you around, and they came out with a win. Then you play against Napoli, who's got some talent, right? They have some good talent, and we win. And now we play the Pigeons on the weekend. There's just so many stories of I don't even know. It's just I'm like all over the place because there's so much things to be fixed, and like I can't put my finger on one thing really. It's just a culmination of a lot of things. Bad luck, like I don't know if the juju, I don't know if Dan put something on them. I don't know what happened. I don't know, Dan.
I'm not sticking any pins in any dolls or anything like that, but I will agree with you in your point of trying to figure out this team. I think Jurgen's trying to do the same thing. Like you saw how he changed systems, right? Like went from 4-3-3, 4-4-2, dropped and this is even when Diogo, like before he got injured, right? Dropped him and Harvey, or and just even with Bobby and Harvey as well. Sorry, not Bobby. It was Bobby and Harvey for one match too. I think the thing that annoyed me the most about the Leeds match was that it was almost like they came in and they knew like first half that Liverpool going to play a certain way. They weren't too scared. And the thing that I think is missing the most this season is fear factor. And it's a very fragile thing, right? So if you think about like how invincible we were this past few seasons, once that gets cracked and the door's sort of wide open now, or like the cracks widened, any team feels like they can come in and get a result. And Anfield being such a cauldron, such a place that is really, really hard to crack, no pun intended again. Leeds just like showed up and thought, you know what, we can play compact. We're gonna get our chances, and when we do, let's exploit them. And we didn't have an answer for that. Like we were not clinical enough. Like that's the one thing from us in the way that we played. We weren't clinical enough. And Ted Lasso got a result. So I mean, at the end of the day, like that's what happened. But as far as the Napoli match, honestly, I know as you just mentioned, like the 2-0, they haven't won, the 21 game, whatever. I actually don't pay much credence to that result as much as like our fans do, and maybe you do as well, because I had a feeling that they didn't really care about that record, and they already had the group locked up. So they're probably thinking like, yeah, let's just not get injured. Yeah, let's try and win it, but we're not gonna push it, so to speak. And we did play better and we did play well, but I thought, I don't know, that felt to me Bournemouth-y almost. And I know that sounds really like ridiculous to say, but and Napoli are like informed team, but I don't know. Like we had a preordained result of finishing second in the group, and we didn't really change that. So great result and everything, but it wasn't as important as I think. I don't know. At least my opinion on that.
The only thing I would caveat that by saying is Napoli tomorrow are playing the second place team away in Serie A, Atalanta, and they didn't rest anybody. Like they played their full team.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm not saying that they went at it 100%.
Yeah.
But I would, sorry if this offends anybody, but like they're the second best team we've played this year. No, I don't mean our crew. I mean, if anyone else is listening, sorry. They're better than Man United. I think at the moment they're better than Arsenal. They're only not better than Man City that we've played, whether they played full pelt or not. So like realistically, we've beaten the two best teams this season and like hung with them. It's not even like we smash and grabbed it as well. Like, yeah, we
played better for sure. We played better.
Yeah, we have to hold on at times. So that's the only thing I would say there. So I guess that leads me to the question of where are we at this point? Like we last recorded our show 2 weeks ago. We didn't record a show last week. And in 2 weeks, we've probably made like negative progress rather than progress, right? Like literally, like the numbers wise in the table, we're further behind from the top four. And yet, we're going to be, I'm jumping the agenda here a little bit, but we're going to be in the draw on Monday, and we have a 50% chance of getting a Portuguese team where we would be the favorites to move on to the next round. Like Jake said it earlier, like I actually don't remember a season like this. Like if you're of a certain vintage, like I think we all are, we've had seasons where Liverpool are amazing, and then we've had seasons where Liverpool are just a little bit average and crap, like
the one.
And what I'm thinking is right now, I don't know how we're going to feel in June. I have no idea, which is crazy, because normally by now, I have a feeling that like this is going to be a good season. Not saying we're going to win everything, but like I know by the end of the season we're going to be proud of our team. There might be trophies, there might be finals.
Listen, we're proud. I'm proud now, no matter what. I'm proud now, no matter what.
Yeah. But like I don't know if we're going to be in Istanbul or like Benfica are going to dump us. I just can't make head or tail of what's going on.
I do like some of the positives, though. Some of the positives I'm going to point out is a couple of things. One, I see Ramsey got his little 5 minutes, and I didn't realize he's like literally like Virgil kind of height or relatively around there. And for a back, I was like, I can't even, there's no way he's going to get pushed off the ball. There's a whole different, he's got some skill sets. So I do like that. So him as well, that whole combination of basically him, Carvalho, and Elliott are the same age as Milner, basically from that premise. But those three kids are going to be like world beaters in another couple of years once they go through the system and get to understand like how to press, how to go, how to enjoy your, like how to deal with your body, like growing up physically and all that kind of stuff. They will be world beaters. And I am, they're put in the cauldron, like who's like 19, 18, 20 playing against these teams. Like these are things we play on PlayStation. You only
I know who. Jude Bellingham is about that.
Job or Jude? Anyways, but that premise of like those are some of the positive. And the other thing I enjoyed the last game was Konate is just a man mountain, and that 100%. Is something that was like I really enjoyed, because one of the things I think we've been missing the last little while is that Virgil, Matip kind of pushed, both of them kind of pushing the ball, or at least Matip kind of moving up, and Ibu did that in the last game, which I really enjoyed, because I couldn't believe how far up he was at times, right? Like he was either playing sweeping or he was in the box, and I'm like, okay, and no one's going to really shrug him off the ball either from that perspective. You got to tackle the shit out of him. So I did enjoy those positive aspects of our last little shitty run from that.
He handled Omishin, I think, or Omishin. I don't know.
The Norway,
really well.
Really
well. Yeah. He was like electric. I mean, he has a lot of pace, and we were linked with him for a while, right? Like that kind of thing. You know what? I've stuck by Joe Gomez for a long time, as you know in the chat, and Zaz is
Jekyll and Hyde, though. It's such a shit.
He is the embodiment, like you said. And Zaz, go ahead. I actually am tending to agree with you with that.
Yeah, I find it very difficult to be negative on any Liverpool player from 2017 to now. But my problem is, and I wrote this in our chat this week, is I think we all embody the reason we love this club and we are so in love with this club is because we all relate to it in the same with the values that we have. And I think that's why Klopp is so such a natural fit as well. I think we can be a little bit too loyal, to be honest with you. I think loyalty is a very important thing until it shoots you in the foot. By shooting you in the foot, I mean literally making a goal mistake every single week almost. I don't like. So, I was on another podcast. Sorry, very quickly. I was on another podcast this week where they were actually seriously, like, they weren't taking the piss. Take the Liverpool glasses off. They were actually like, we don't want Joe Gomez. Tyrone Mings is fine if that's what we're playing with.
That's ridiculous. But that's
our. But what I'm saying is that's not our perspective. Like, we can't see everything. What I'm saying is they don't say that about Virgil. Like, they don't say that about Mo.
No, but
they don't.
But
say
I wanted to bring this. I wanted to bring this point up because no, I agree with a lot of what you just said. I 100% agree. Where I think it's actually sort of weird in a way. Virgil and Joe had the same injury roughly. I mean, maybe not the same exact ligaments and all that kind of stuff, but generally around that
length of time. Right? Yeah,
serious injury. It's not like anything. I've actually gone through that injury. I'm not on that scale. But the thing that gets me is that Joe has waited a little bit longer to return. Virgil came back earlier, right? So he came back last season, had an amazing season, given everything, right? Given being out for a year and all that kind of stuff. He came back. We were competing on all fronts, 2 trophies, all that kind of stuff. Joe was still taking his time. He got maybe a slight run in at the end. What was interesting is that Virgil's having sort of this season what he should have had last season, right? In terms of the struggles and everything else. And now that could be with the midfield and Mane and all, like, fine. But Joe is having, I think, what a regular player who's been through a serious injury like that and coming back is having. Now, I'm not saying, and I 100% agree with you, is like, no, bonehead moves are bonehead moves and positioning and all that kind of stuff. So he is, yes, more prone to an error. He's not on a Virgil level. But at the same time, he's had some brilliant moments. Like, he's actually had some very, very good moments. And the thing is that for that consistency, there'll have to be more pain because he's not at a Virgil level where he can just step in and then build a consistency right away. He is maybe a step below, maybe obviously a little bit below than Ivo and Matip, but I personally have that confidence, seeing what he could be, and seeing where he could potentially go after this injury to get back to that level, maybe close to that level, pre-injury 19 level, where him and Virgil were like lights out, like they were the best two in the league, bar none. He was the best English center back at that time. I don't think
he was
at that
he
time.
was
So
he was.
So that being said, like the Mings thing, it's funny, banter, blah blah blah.
I'm not saying
I get
he
that.
is
No,
that.
that's their opinion. I get that completely.
Yeah.
It's their opinion.
But
I'm not saying that.
But sorry, go ahead.
They're not saying that Mings is better than him. That's not what they were saying. What they were
It's
saying
form.
was, they were just like, is that an improvement like on what we have already?
Right.
Like we already have a guy who, on paper, could be a good player, but he just can't get his proverbial shit together. And I would almost say that like that's not how you would have to objectively rate Joe Gomez, because he was man of the match against Man City, right? But
he was unbelievable.
Lovren used to be man of the match against certain teams. Do you get what I mean? But when we won the when we won the two big trophies back to back, 1819 and 1920, like we had Matip and Virgil in 1819, Gomez and Virgil in 1920, and they were perfect. Like they were just both perfect. And like if that's Ibu now, if that's Matip now, we just have to play the best players. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah. So I pose a question to you now. Like going through his injury dynamic of the last several years, on and off, re-signings. We re-signed him for several years now, knowing I don't even know what he's 23, 24. What's his age now?
25.
Okay, 25. As a manager with all the guys, Linders, Mato, like all those Victor, like all the guys and all the coaching staff going through this with him, what do you do to him? What do you give him that you have not already given him to succeed? Which is a very interesting premise. He's gone through all the squad rotations. He's gone through injury rehab. He's gone through like playing in the cups, playing in all that kind of stuff to get his confidence up. He's not had good form. He's been on and off. And from a psychological perspective, because you got this guy, you got the throw-in coach, you got this coach, you got that coach, you got, I don't know I forgot the girl's name. Anyways, there's all those psychiatrists, physio, like everything. We have all that. And they've already gone through this. And what do you do now to bring him to some level of confidence that you can remotely even put him in without a fear?
One thing only, I think, and that is to play matches. And that
we can't do that though. But we can't allow that to happen.
I'm not saying that we can. No, right. But like what I'm saying is matches, and because he needs match time, he needs minutes, and here's the other thing. Trent's been out for a long time too, right? So Trent came back, or I wouldn't say long time, but for his level, came back, and he had him without Trent. I think it was Millie's on one, who started one match, right? It was Millie and him on the City match, right? So how did they link really, really well together? I mean, they have a decent understanding. Sometimes it's also like, who you're actually playing with. And like, Virgil's struggles this season has been, right, his normal partners, Matip and Thing, have been somewhat out. And Matip early, he had some blunders, fine. But Joe, I think, is suffering from consistency of who he's playing around or with. And the midfield, right? I mean, like, when he was in that 1920 pomp or whatever that was,
but Dan, just one point to that. Just one point to that. Yeah, over the last 5 years, they have chopped and changed everybody. So there's not an unfamiliar face that he's playing with. I get what your point. Consistency is great. But there's not a player that he has not played with in this team day in and day out in practice and whatever else that he is not accustomed to. You can say, oh, this guy was injured, this guy was whatever else. It doesn't really matter from that perspective, because they train every single day. They've been playing chopping and changing for the last few years and in different roles, whatever else. So again, like that is, I get what you're saying, because you're just trying to put in the pieces like, oh, it's not the people around him, that run of form and that same kind of aspect of the team. The consistency is not there, but he's been, that's what we've been doing for the last several years, chopping and changing when there's an injury and whatever else. So, I mean, that's going to be a very interesting point. Like, I think he's in probably one of the lowest points of his professional career up after the injuries. And, the problem is that our fickle audience is not going to give him any time. And it's already now being reflective of the people that are not even on our Liverpool vision. And like, I don't know how he's going to come out of this hole in the end.
Yeah.
Just the other thing on consistency is ever since 1920, he's only played 25 Premier League games. Like this, the 25th and that's in 3 seasons. So that's like average of 3. Like, sorry, that's a poor average just in numbers. Obviously, he's been injured. Pause the wrong word. But then on top of that, he's never had a 30-game Premier League season ever, and he's like, so it's just where do we want to be? The question is, where do we want to be? If we want to be at the very top table, he ain't that guy. Like, it's just like, sorry.
No,
like,
but
I think they're going to sell. I think they get rid of Nat.
Fourth CB. Yeah,
no, but I think they get.
That's great.
So
I think Nat Reese go out the window, and that there's going to be some fresh meat. I don't think we have anybody else from the kids that are coming up. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that Reese and Nat will go at some point to get some wherever they're going to go to play. Whatever we get from them, but I think they're going to refresh that. They're going to need to refresh that premise.
And by the way, there are other players as well in this, like in part of this conversation as well. Like he's not the only one. Like, we need. The thing is like naturally every team has a 2-3 year window, and then they change. Like I remember Carragher a couple of years ago on Monday Night Football was talking about how our front 3 needed change.
Oh, the Barca.
You know what? Yeah. And it would be like Eto'o, Henry, Messi, change. Ibrahimovic, Messi, Henry, change. Villa, Messi. And it's like
Suarez.
That. And Suarez, Neymar, like you need that. And like our thing at the moment is we have let a few players grow old together at the same time. And like, to me at this point, even though he's not going to go, especially with the new contract, but like, even with like Salah or Virgil, 2 of my favorite players, like, even if they ended up being some of the part of the refresh, they won't. So I'm being facetious, but like, even if they were, I think I would just have to take it because it's better for the sum of the better parts. Like one of your best favorite players, Dan, left. Like Mane left, like he was part of
Genie
this,
as well, right?
Genie, like we just, I think we just have to be, and Jurgen's the same. Like we just have to be okay with
open to change,
and I think that's part of the thing. It's like it's getting to a point now where, like in 2018, when we brought in Virgil, Alisson, and Fabinho, there were gaping holes, and these world-class players filled them in. And these players, like we fell in love with them. They won every single trophy, but like no, the hole is nowhere near like that. But at the same time, that's the kind of surgery we need right now. Like if Bellingham comes in, he has to start, right? Like Darwin came in, we lost Mane to let Darwin come in, or Diaz, which it's like that's the level of player that now needs to start moving on, and we have to now see that in other positions. Sorry, Dan.
So no. I that makes sense. I 100% agree with like the squad refresh and like the cycle. Just one last thing with the Gomez sort of alliteration.
One
last thing. Sorry, just really quick. It's actually not even about Gomez. I think Curtis Jones is the Gomez of the midfield, if you know what I'm saying, because he's gone through very similar sort of periods out. He's the same age, or maybe slightly younger, maybe 23 or something like that. But when you brought up earlier, I think it was Jake. I'm not sure if it was you or us, but like the whole notion of like Fabio and like Harvey and what's his face, the other guy, the youth basically, right?
Carvalho,
yeah. Like the 3 of them, let's say, Curtis is in that awkward position, just like Joe, where he's not a first team or even close to the first team, let's say, but he gets rotation here and there, and he's sort of like a 3rd or 4th option, right? I mean, if you're putting your first 11 Champions League final, he's probably not going to be there, or at least he'll be in the squad, but he'll be like let's say a 3rd or 4th option off the bench. That's my point with the squad. I think with Joe and also with Curtis is that our 3rd and 4th options were great, and they could play in our system and everything else. But I think, like you said, they also need to get either moved on or refreshed as well. Because if you're not cutting it, like the loyalty thing, like you were mentioning before, also rings true to those kind of players too. right? Like, like the Jay Spearings of the world, like where you would just need to cut loose at some point. Just not good enough. Ben Woodburn, like at some point, you wowed. Let's say maybe he had a wonder goal like he had versus Everton, right? Like Curtis Jones. But I mean, other than the odd strike here or there, he sort of left or let me down, like let's say as a fan. And so anyway, I'm just sort of weary of some of these other squad players, and Naby is part of that. I get that. I'm not going to get into that, but so I think there's a lot of surgery that has to happen this next 2 windows or so. Anyway, don't want to bog you guys down on that topic.
No, I'm just taking a look at the times. I just want to make sure we keep it moving. So looking forward, on Sunday, we have an away trip to, the Pigeons, as Jake reminded us. How do you folks see the game going, Jake? Team
well,
system,
I'm kind of glad that Son is not playing. He's got some facial, I don't know, whatever from the last one.
Yeah, he might be out of the World Cup.
He's out.
Is he out of the World Cup too?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh shit!
Probably.
Okay. That's a sad thing. I don't. Yeah. There's so many players out of the World Cup. This is bonkers. Like every day, there's like a new guy that's not playing, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, Conte's a good coach. They've got a bit of a run. They're in 3rd or 4th spot right now. It's a big task for us. And from the last time we played these buggers, the flock of pigeons will park that bus or just literally sit there and shit on the field and not move. And the problem is that, like, I don't even know who's going to play in our midfield, because we have to be as creative as shit that day in order to break the bus down, essentially, and go. And they do have good pieces. I don't know, like their midfield's okay. They've got some pace up front. I mean, I don't care about Richarlison. Like, he can go, he's but they have a decent enough squad because they're in that spot. No, is there a bit of luck? Yeah, sure. There's a bit of this, sure. But I don't know I don't know who's gonna play from that. And I don't even know who's ready to play. I'm hoping that, like, one of the other standout performers of our team has been Allison, and we need him to keep being that guy, because without him, we'd be like shellacked in so many different games. And thank goodness, whether it's the penalty save or whatever else, he's been just sorting us out. And we've been lucky from that premise. So I'm hoping for like a 2-1 win. I can see from that standpoint would be a really, really, on the form of our Prem, losing against those teams, that would be my general hope. But I don't even know what first team we're going to put out, which is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, if we get a result there, I'd be ecstatic. If we win, even better. But like I just can't see a repeat of that famous 5-1 or 5-0, whatever that was, from 2013, Flannel scoring and stuff. Like I just can't see that. I think it's going to be another like Conte sort of special where he parks it and has like his leak outs, or Kane playing that ball, like sort of first time or second time. But who do we play, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like, is Thiago fit? Hopefully. Is Hendo fit? I mean, the thing that I think we're missing the most, Mane and Diaz, but like it's that speed down the left, and we have it with Mo, just that outlet ball linking up and all that. And I'm hoping like Darwin on the road can produce something. He's done it at Fulham, but other than that, like, I can't think of an away performance where like Darwin has put in a, you know what I mean? Like, so Bobby needs to play.
He needs to play. Darwin needs to play. The crazy thing is the pace is going to be a big deal, because they're going to sit deep anyway. So if they ever come out, we need someone who can like get in behind. I think we're letting teams off by not playing Darwin. I'm not sure what it is. Like, obviously he's very raw. Obviously he's like needs a lot of like finessing and polishing and all that stuff. But like, there's no defender that wants to play a guy who's that big and that quick. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And obviously, not second guessing Jurgen. They kind of probably know what they're doing. But Tottenham have not been impressive against good teams this year at all.
Hopefully it happens again with us.
Yeah.
Do you think though that the reason why he's not getting into the lineup, into the starting 11, is that for bus parking teams or lower block teams, he doesn't have that space to run, right? Like
very possible.
like we'll have possession, but I mean, for him to like make his mark, it's really through a header, like something like that, rather than a strike, let's say, right? Like a Diaz or but yeah, no, against like a City, I mean, I would 100% play Darwin because I feel like City has possession of the ball. He can leak out to, again, he wasn't ready for that and all that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, the other thing I love about him is we have a threat on set pieces, because you would think with Virgil and Ibu and Matip, like you would think that we have that threat, but we don't. Like we don't. Everybody says that about their team, or we don't score enough corners. But like recently, we haven't been scoring enough corners, but he has been getting his head onto things as well. So who plays? Like full team really, because Derby is in the week, right? So it's like we don't need to worry about a midweek game. Thing with Tottenham as well is they played one more game than us, and they're 7 points clear, is it something like that? So it's like if we win this one and then we win the game in hand, we're closing in on them as well. So we have to go for the win here, and the only way we know how is with the juggler. And also last couple of seasons at Tottenham Stadium, we've actually been really impressive, and I don't know if Tottenham are a better team. Bowl. Yeah, I don't know if they're a better team now than that, because they've got Son's out, Kulishevsky's out, Richarlison might be out. So like, what are they going to play? Like pump it up to Kane kind of thing. Like that, I wouldn't fear that. Like even Lucas Moura, like so what? Like I don't think we should concern ourselves with that, but we have to be clinical. That's the thing. Like so many of our matches this season, going all the way back to Crystal Palace when Milner misses an empty net with like 3 minutes to gone. It's like we have let teams stay alive in games, and then they've gone on to beat us, let alone like draw
Brighton.
They've gone all of this stuff. Okay, we're in the final 2 minutes of the show. I just want to very quickly hear from both of you, who do you want on Monday in the Champions League draw?
I don't want Real at all. I'll take anybody. I'll take first. I'll take one of the Portuguese people. I'll take anyone else, and then at the bottom half, I'll take Bayern and Real.
Okay, so any of the Portuguese 1 and 2, 3 Bayern, 4 Real. Oh, okay. I thought, Dan, you might have wanted Bayern first.
No, I actually would love, I want us to progress and have the best chance, and we always do well in Portugal. But if I had to like make it up or whatever, or wish for a nice matchup, it would definitely be Bayern. And even on our form, I still think we have a more than a puncher's chance. So
we might even have some new midfielders by then. Yeah. Okay, so to wrap it up, Jake, just tell us a bit about what's been happening in the club.
So quickly, thank you very much for the audience for the 2 weeks of our food drive. We had so much food, which is great, at the Sly Fox as well as Elvin Castle. We donated to all the fire halls, which is fantastic. Thank you to all the audience. It was really great. We are preparing for a Crimbo in December 7th, December 9th. So that's going to come, and we've got some promotions that are coming in the new year. We've got some people coming from Europe a couple of times, so we planned a lot of things. So more things to come. And look at our socials we have a ticket request as well that's coming. So there's a few things that's happening. So big things. And then we have pigeons, of course, on Sunday. And the time changes. The time changes on Sunday.
11:30 Sunday. Be there. We're out. Bye.
Peace.